So, Coach, you guys were leading by 10 early on in that game. What went wrong in that fourth quarter? You guys shot the ball 11%.
Yeah, I think that just, a lot of stall on the ball, kind of looking to give it to Aari. I thought Aari had a lot of drives to the basket, missed, but we can't just pound the ball to her. I don't know. It's just really bad offense in the second half for sure, and in the fourth quarter.
And then in that fourth quarter, you guys also had 4 turnovers as well.
Yeah, so that was the turnovers hurt us in the first half. Hurt us because at halftime, Washington State had 10 points off our turnovers. Second half, I thought there was a particular action that just kept on hurting us. I thought Legger Walker, gave us a really tough time in the second half. I thought the first half we held her 3 points. Second half she had 14, I believe. So she was kind of difference maker. She made the basket going into overtime. Then she made the game winner. Tough break, but I think it has to be a learning lesson for our team because we have to be able to maintain leads. And we can't give up, turn the ball over, get stops. I thought we made some big shots down the stretch, but not enough. I thought it was very physical. I thought there was a lot of missed calls going to the basket, but I think it was just the nature of a physical game on the road. But those are shots that Aari's used to making, despite the physicality of it.
Javier?
Hey, Adia. Charlize, she made the last basket in regulation and the last basket in overtime without Sam in there. How much was it? How much did it affect you that Sam had fouled out by both of those shots?
Well, it affected us a lot because Sam is one of our best defenders. It affected a lot. I think that one thing that was frustrating for me, it's not by any means the reason why we lost the game, but there was a huge miscommunication and mess up by the bench here. So it was just difficult for me as a coach. And I normally don't complain. This is not the reason why we lost by any means, but it affected the way I substituted, affected who I started, affected who I'm playing. The fouls kept on changing. So at one point, one of my players had 3 fouls. At the next point, they had 2. At the next point, it changed without me knowing. So it was hard. That's not the reason, but it affected how I substitute. And it affected the minutes. But that's not the reason I lost the game, like I said. But I think that we had to defend her. I thought the last game-winning shot was a big shot. She's a good player. She made a really tough play over Kate and Bendu. But I thought that for us, we have to maintain a lead so it doesn't come, because it's not from one possession. It's not the last shot that wins the game. It's the mistakes earlier. It's the mistakes in regulation. It's the mistakes the first quarter that mount up, and then it ends up being the game.
And then now you guys going to play Oregon, scheduled to play Oregon anyway on Thursday or Friday. How do you get the team ready for that after a game like this?
We just have to learn. We have to do a little bit better. We have to not press so much in the fourth quarter, have better spacing, know where to drive the ball, know not to drive in the congestion. And then I think we need to get that third and fourth player in double digits. And I think Sam would have been that player because Sam was playing good, but a lot of fouls. I thought 2 very, very tough calls on Sam. Sam's a great defender. She's very disciplined. So I need to look at film to kind of see where that is at. But it doesn't come down to those 2 things. But it affected us. Sam rarely fouls out of games. And, I felt like she was straight up on a lot of stuff. But that's how it goes on the road. I thought they did a good job, the officials. But I think that we have to be better knowing when we're in a certain situation to maybe not go for it or play a little bit smarter. Because without Sam in the game, and it hurts us. And I think what also hurt us was, Helena coming in the game. I thought she did a better job second half, but we need to be able to get her shots. And then Lauren, just the balance of freshmen on the road, usually finishes more of those shots around the rim. So I think that, just overall, everybody could have done a little bit better. But, it's a tough loss. It's not the end of the world. It's so early. This is a tough place to play. I said that all along. And they're a really good team. They're going to beat a lot of teams.
David?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, just those last 2 drives by Charlize, the one at the end of regulation and the one at the end of the game. How did you feel about the defense there? And in terms of what you've talked about and you guys playing a lot of hands up and Sam getting called for fouls, there really wasn't a lot of physicality on your end there on either.
No, the way it was officiated definitely changed our style and affected us. Because I thought that they were very, very physical on Aari, and I thought that we weren't allowed to play really physical, but that's the way it is. I'm sure people feel that way at Arizona. That's kind of how it is on the road here in the Pac-12. Competitive, not happy with our defense because we had to have rotation. We are usually very good at a couple things. We're usually very good at transition defense. We gave up, I think, 8 points in fast break in the first half. We're usually very good at helping and rotating. I think that they shoot the ball really well from the perimeter, so it made us kind of stick to our players. And then we didn't have help because on that Bendu reverse layup at regulation, Legger Walker made, we should have helped. And a lot of times we got killed on action, not helping. That's not usually us. But that's why it hurts us when Sam's not in the game, because Sam's usually very, very good at being that person, helping, talking. So those are things that hurt us. But nothing we can do about it. We got another big game on Thursday. So I think for us, it's focusing on Oregon now, learning from this and learning that, think about us. We were the comeback kids. We won like 3 or 4 games this year with deficits of like 11 or more. So they did a good job. They came back, they fought, and they outplayed us, and they deserve to win. They're a really good team. They're coached really well, and they stuck it to us the second half and in overtime. So we have to get better.
PJ?
Yeah, Adia, when you go into that overtime and, they have the momentum and your offense is just, it wasn't working, right? You didn't have, you went a long time without field goal and it's not working. What do you tell your players then to sort of like say, okay, it's a new 5 minutes. I know you talk about wars, but how do you sort of get their mindset straight to like, yeah, they have the momentum, but it's a tie game. We start out 0-0. You can win this.
I think for me, just telling them, like, I think give them things that they don't see it. Like it's hard as a player to see things on the court. So I give them short things that will help, like short adjustments. Like, for instance, when we run this action, this is how they're defending it. This is how we can go against that. Or they're running this action. This is where we need to get the ball to. Kind of give them direct direction on where to go. Because in the game, like sometimes they don't even know what they're doing on balls, let's say. In the game, it's hard to tell sometimes. So give them things. I think we just had a tough time. A lot of times on reversals, we go back to where the action is. We work on reversing it and playing on the backside. We didn't do a great job of that today. And I think that times when Kate was doing a good job, but we couldn't really give her the ball because everybody's sagging. So I think for us, learning how to play action with movement, when teams are going third, they're icing, they're in the paint a lot because they're worried about Aari. So we need to reverse the ball and get them off the backside. And we didn't do a great job of that. When we did, we were flowing, but I felt like in the fourth quarter, we were very stagnant. And those are the things that hurt us. A lot of it is from fatigue because we're tired, so you're not moving as much. But I think we needed some spark from other players on the bench because then we could rest other people a little bit more. But when we were going into our bench, they were making runs a lot, so that made it difficult. But, I just think that we can't always just, give it to Aari every second. Yes, we need Aari in action, but there's times where we need to be able to run it to different people. And I think that was the challenge today. It was kind of like in the shot clock, give it to Aari when we work on other stuff. So, it's hard. This one stung a little bit. They had 18 assists, 11 turnovers. We had 9 assists, 15 turnovers. That's not a ratio I like. That tells me kind of indication of the game a little bit. But we just got to get better. We have to, in crunch times, be able to run different stuff. We have to be able to do what we do in practice and translate to the games. And I know we need to be able to get stops when it counts when we have leads. And I think this all started from the momentum, the 4-point shift from the regulation and right before halftime. So in the second quarter, the 4-point shift was all the momentum, and they came out second half. And then we allowed them to get confidence to go into overtime. But that's what we can't do. Especially a team like when they have the 2 Legger Walker sisters that are great scorers. Crystal's great 3-point shooter, which we guarded, I think, well. And then Clarice is really, really good at, or Charlize, sorry, really, really good at driving and getting to the rim. And I thought she really had a good second half. Her and Bella. Bella, really, really good, number 55. Very good at when we helped, she was wide open for drops. Or, I just thought that they both hurt us badly in the second half and in overtime.
Yeah. So what did you think were the issues in the second half? It seemed like your offense really got bogged down.
I would say turnovers. And also we were trading buckets. I mean, Charlize had a great second half. I mean, we couldn't stop her. And also we couldn't even score. So, I mean, turnovers and just not executing.
Troy?
With the poor shooting in the fourth quarter, was it something that Washington State was doing differently or just shots falling in the fourth quarter?
I would say I'll give credits to Washington State. I mean, they made some defensive adjustments the second half. We couldn't read it, couldn't score. Yeah, and also shots wasn't falling. So
David?
Hey, Aari, Coach was saying that just the way that the game was being called and obviously Sam fouling out, that there was a feeling that you guys maybe couldn't be as aggressive defensively, especially maybe on those last two straight line drives by Charlize. Was that your feeling, like you felt like you really couldn't defend her the way that you would want to?
yeah, I felt like that the whole game. I mean, we tried, but I mean, we couldn't be too much aggressive. Yeah, we just have to adjust next time if it's been called like this. Just we got to adjust, but also still be aggressive and try to make it hard for somebody to score.
Javier?
Hey, Aari, now going forward, you guys have a game scheduled against Oregon. That's going to be a tough one. How do you get past this one to prepare for that one?
Yeah, we just got to have amnesia. I mean, yeah, this one stings. We should have won, but I mean, we just got to regroup, watch film, and get better. We got to come out hot. Like beginning of the game, we got to stay with it. We can't lack any time. We have to stay with momentum all the time. So, I mean, I'll be fine. We'll be fine. So, just got to regroup.
There was a lot of shots that normally you guys would make, but they just didn't fall. I mean, is this one of those abnormal games, or have you been in a part of a game like this where you guys missed that many shots you could have made?
Yeah, last week was a prime example. But that's no excuse. We just got to regroup. We got to focus, and we just got to get back to it and get better.